Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This afternoon's topic: too much worrying can lead to mental and psychological health issues. Too much worrying can lead to mental and psychological health issues. The reason why I wanted to bring this topic to the forefront is because if you look at the lifestyles of a number of individuals today, and I'm not talking about the lifestyles of rich and famous, I'm talking about the lifestyles of many of us who are working folk. If you just take a moment to see what's going on around you, a number of us are in a hurry. But not only that, when we deal with life differently as individuals. But one thing that I do find common with a number of us is we have too much on our plate and we don't know how to deal with it. And when that happens, we become worry warts. And when we do a lot of worrying, what happens is that leads to mental and psychological issues such as stress, depression, anger, suicide, which in effect leads to high blood pressure, heart disease, and other diseases which are part of health, such as physical health. Okay, you worry so much, you get headaches. That's physical. But why does this occur? The answer is very, very simple. A number of us are disorganized or discombobulated. We don't have an idea of how to handle our lives. We're juggling too many plates, and most of us don't know how to do it. And what happens is we become the old saying, the jack of all trades and the master of none. In other words, let me give you my interpretation of that. We work hard to get no work done. And the time that we are working, we put in energy, emotion, money, and we can't get that back. And we worry. How many of you have actually owed bills and all of your debts have gone to collection companies and your phone constantly rings? You don't want to pick up the phone because you already know who's on the other side of that phone. You're going to get the harassment. And once you get the call that you owe a bill, or you'll go to jail, or you'll have your car or your house taken away, you're going to worry. Well, that's what a number of us are doing. Now, are there any remedies to it? There are certainly remedies. First of all, you must look at your life as a whole and find out what's important and what's not important. And with the transient type of society that we are living, some of us are working 2 jobs, 3 jobs. We're taking care of kids. We don't have babysitters. Some of us have this attitude that we can have it all. And once you really have to work by trying to get it all, you really don't have it all. But when it's all said and done, you got stress, which leads into depression, which leads into suicide. The list goes on and on and on again. If you've looked at all of my videos, every video is a precursor to the next video, because when you get to the pinnacle, no matter what you do, if you don't contain it, you're going to be stressed, and stress is going to lead you down the wrong road, because stress is a silent killer. Now, that being said, why do we allow ourselves to get in the positions that we're in? Some are unforeseen circumstances. Others, we just neglect what we should have done. Let me give you a better example. Let's take a car, for example. Okay. If you see your oil light come on in your car and you don't take care of that oil light until it's too late, well, what's going to happen? Because you didn't take care of that oil light, which would have cost a lot less, now you're going to have a problem. You have the oil light on, and your engine could possibly be seizing up on you. And when it seizes up, when your engine seizes up on you, you're done. You have to get a new engine. Now you went from basically a $69.95 problem to a $4,000 problem. And that's going to put you in what we call a stressful situation. And when we get stressed, we start to act out emotionally because of our desperation to handle a problem that we could have done a long time ago. Procrastination. That's another aspect of why we are not organized. If you tend to put everything on hold and not understand the consequences until it's too late, this is where you find yourself juggling a lot of plates. Now, what I advise everybody to do is look at your primary duties in life. Now, if you have children living with you and they're teenagers, you don't have to go through that stress. And I want to tell all the mothers there, it will help relieve stress if you teach your children how to help you with the chores, like washing dishes, cooking, because in essence, it helps you out. And it also gives them an opportunity to learn what it is to take on some responsibility. And a number of grown children are living at home, and they should already be helping you out if they're living in your house. So when you have children, don't be friends with your children. Stop trying to get them to like you. Once you eliminate that, there's a big stress reliever right there. You're always going to worry about your children. But if they become a certain age, such as adults, then they need to be treated as such. Don't let them depend on you and be an adult when it's convenient. But then when it comes time for responsibilities, they have it in their mind that they're entitled to living in your house because they're your children. No. If you want to make the relationship with your children work when they're adults, make sure they understand the rules of the house. Now, when they are teenagers, you teach them. So right there, that is stress off your back. If you have bills, and we all do have bills, make sure you have enough money saved up, at least, depending on your situation, a minimum of $1,000 in the bank. You need to have a nest egg to fall back on. Now, again, I'm using these as examples. Do one thing at a time. Too many of us are juggling, and this is where you get the jack of all trades and a master of none. You don't want to have the jack of all trades if you're master in all. You want to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And the last thing you want to become is a worry wart. Also, some of us have health conditions. We're on medication. Well, too much medication can have side effects, and that can lead down to depression because you have medicines trying to conflict with other medicines, which that's a bit of a problem as well. But what I'm trying to say is this. If you want to get out of being a worry wart, make sure you organize yourself where you are looking at life from a common sense perspective. This is not complicated. Know what you need to do on a daily basis. Number one, I did a video on this. Make sure you're getting the right amount of sleep. And make sure you have a plan. A lot of us just, out of spontaneity or out of impulse, we tend to do things without thinking. And then it'll come back to hurt us later on. We might not think of it at that time. And make sure you set yourself some long-term goals and short-term goals. Because the bottom line, you're trying to keep yourself from being stressed out. Because I said it in the previous video, stress is a silent killer. And if you don't believe me, you look how many people are going berserk with murder suicides because they're stressed, they're angry. And when it comes to any psychological, emotional, or physical issue or mental health issue, all of the issues basically tie into one another because we have allowed our lives to come apart. Now, you must understand that we're all vulnerable. There is not one of us who is God or Jesus. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what your education level is. We all have limitations. And you must set your mind to understanding that concept. And be realistic as well. Don't put yourself in a position where you're taking on more than you can handle. That's the same type of logic when it comes to money. Do not spend more than you can make because it's going to be disastrous results. If you have individuals at work who are constantly harassing you, sit down and talk to somebody. And in fact, if you're a worrywart, this is where you could talk to a counselor because you don't want to go down that road of stress. I'm telling you, a number of us have been there, including me. It is not a very pleasant experience to be stressed out because stress actually puts more gray in your hair, gives you wrinkles. It leads to, again, you've heard me mention it a couple of times in this video, suicides, depression. You do things that you normally wouldn't do, like make poor decisions. You want to stay on track with everything you do. You only live one life, and you have to maximize it the best way you can. You aren't going to get everything in life. And that's the problem with America. We tend to have put it in people's mind that we can have everything. Tangible items aren't necessary to be somebody. If you want to enjoy your life, know who you are as a person. Find out what you need to do. And you must look at yourself, okay? And it's important to look at yourself. You have a number of us, particularly I could say this when it comes to men. Men, we are basically judged not by who we are, but we're judged by what we could do for other people. And that's the problem. And that's why we get stressed. This is why I tell men, take a step back and know your worth. Because if you know who you are and what your worth is, you don't have to worry about impressing anybody but yourself. Now, you want to help individuals out. You can't be selfish, but you have to be realistic about your wherewithal so you're not worrying, getting stressed out. If you're in college, don't take an overload of classes to where you are going to fail some classes, because not only is that going to hurt your grade point average, but you may have to drop some courses, which that costs money to take classes. Also, you could be in school a little longer because you dropped that particular course. And eventually you're going to have to take that particular course again because you overloaded yourself. Don't bite off more than you can chew. You don't have to be Superman or Superwoman. What you have to understand is knowing the concepts of how to deal with problems on your plate. And you must be able to solve the problems without being emotional with regards to showing anger, hate, and blame. Because you can't blame anybody else for your problems. You, as an individual, must take responsibility for what you do. Now, again, everybody handles stress a lot different because of the situation. But the common aspect is when your lives are disorderly or disorganized or unorganized, however you want to utilize the vernacular, well, you're going to be stressed out. And stress, again, can lead down a lonely road to other mental and psychological health issues. I'm trying to prevent that by giving you this information from my own perspective on what you need to do for dealing with stress. Now, of course, you can utilize meditation, which that's also a review from a previous video that I did when it comes to stress relief. But I'm talking about how to deal with stress as far as a problem-solving technique. What you have to do is be orderly with your life. A lot of us aren't orderly. When it comes to you as a person, all you have is you. And the reason why I say that, because you may think you have friends in your corner. They're not your friends when you're in trouble, but when they're in trouble, oh, they're going to call you to be their friends. So number one, don't hang out with wishy-washy people. Don't be influenced by people who are losers. Be influenced by people who are winners. But that being said, you must do the work to fulfill your victory, to be on top. But make sure you have order in your lives. If you have chaos, you're going to be stressed out. Again, you're not going to see the consequences right away. But trust me, it will catch up to you, and it'll catch up to you in a hurry. A number of us believe that when we do things in life, nothing's going to happen to us. That's the problem. And in America today, we look for all that instant gratification. And when that happens, it's like we hit a brick wall once the problem actually exists. So don't go around and act like problems don't exist. Take care of them. Because if you do that, you eliminate a lot of stress, because most of the problems that we actually have, they start off small, but we let them escalate. So a word to the wise is sufficient to keep yourself from stressing out. Don't take on too much at one time. And number two, make sure you follow through with completing a project one at a time. Don't juggle too many plates. It's unnecessary. Again, you don't want to be the jack of all trades and a master of none, because that defeats the purpose. You want to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And, I want everybody just to take the time out, close your eyes for a moment, and meditate. Meditation is it's a good stress relief. And then write down where you are in life and what problems you have. When it comes to bill problems, if you're already in debt, you have to find a way out of debt. And the best way to find your way out of debt is to look at your bills and see what you can pay off first, because that's going to be a confidence builder. And then you must commit yourself. And once you do that, you'll find out that the dominoes will fall perfectly. But you got to believe in the concept of staying focused and orderly. And understand there are consequences with everything you do. Life is no joke. This is real. This is not the movies. And you really want to relieve stress, turn off the TV. Too many of us are influenced by what we see on television. Remember something, folks. Television, it's paid actors. Because you don't even know what kind of stress they have. And stop idolizing all these Hollywood fanatics out here. You want real influence. You get support from people who have gone through the same types of experiences that you're going through, and make sure that they're everyday people, because everyday people can match up with everyday people. Somebody who is not everyday, they're not going to understand what you're going through, because they're not going to care what you're going through. And in fact, if they have actually gone through what you have gone through, and they're in a different class known as elitism, they're going to forget where they came from anyway. So my advice to each and every one of you: stress can lead to a lot of psychological and mental health issues from being a worry wart, because a number of us worry too much. We don't have to do a lot of worry. Certainly, as human beings, we all are going to experience some, but we don't want our lives to get so jumbled up to where we're in the hospital, because it can lead us there. And once we get there, we're going to find out that we have other conditions. The news could be bad. And, you know, when you start to worry, you start to get eating disorders or anorexia as well. People forget that. If we connect the dots, what I'm trying to tell you: no life is error-free, but you can minimize the damage if you don't juggle so much at one time. This is not a circus. You don't have to be an acrobat. What you have to do is be realistic about who you are and what your worth is, because what your worth is going to be different from somebody else. And the most important thing is, don't get influenced by what others have. Don't get jealous by what some others have, because although my last name is Jones, I don't even keep up with the Joneses. So you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Just keep up with what you need to do as an individual, because somebody else might not have the stress that you have, or you're not going to have the stress that somebody else has. The problem is, we allow ourselves to worry about what somebody else has. That's bad as well. And again, we make decisions that we shouldn't make, that are going to cost us in the long run, because we're not thinking clearly at the moment. We're thinking for the moment. And then when we do that, we act irrationally. Think everything through. You don't have to put a lot on your plate. And that all starts too by when it comes to money. I'm going to use that as an example. Don't buy a car or a house that you can't afford. Don't get a credit card that has a high percentage that you're not going to be able to pay back. Don't take out a loan. That's the financial part, but finances can stress you out as well. Don't have any children until you're ready. Don't get married until you're ready. Don't go to college unless you deem it's necessary and you have the funds to go to college. These are all examples of decisions that people make without understanding the consequences until it's too late. So before you make any decisions, be rational. Weigh the pros and cons. If the pros outweigh the cons, that's a decision worth taking. If the pros do not outweigh the cons, that's a decision that I wouldn't make. Start with the basic platform, and when you do that, you'll find that your life will be a lot easier. Like I said, I mentioned meditation. Meditation is a stress reliever. This video is basically about stress management. And what I'm trying to tell you is, don't get yourself in a world of you know what if you understand and you educate yourself about what's going on in your life. Just remember this, folks. You are important to you and no one else, no matter what anyone else says. You have to design your own life and go where you desire to go. But you must look out for others along the way as well. You can't be selfish, because remember something, karma is a bitch. What comes around goes around. You screw somebody else going up, you're going to be screwed coming down, because they're going to see you coming down. So one must remember, when it comes to stress management, be realistic about your goals and objectives. Don't put too much on your plate. Work smart, not hard. Let me repeat that again, because repetition is the mother of all skills and teaching. Work smart, not hard. Because if you do that, in the long run, your life will be much easier and less stressful. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show on NFL Draft Night, Thursday, April 27th, 2017. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest calling number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube, so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in debates, controversy, or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama or unnecessary bickering. Why? It's simply counterproductive and a waste of time. And that will give you stress if you deal with nonsense. So remember, what I'm giving you is the tools so you'll understand how the real world works from a pragmatic sense, because you take the information and you actually apply it. And if you apply it properly, it works. And again, if you catch that, you won't be stressed out. What you get is topics that are realistic but positive, because knowledge is power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy, no bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now, that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed afternoon.